Okay. Couple minutes late here. Excuse me. But let's get started. This is the forum topic on multi-attach. Hey, Ildiko. Thanks for coming. I'm going to kind of start this session like I started the last one with, all right, how many operators do we have in the room? Yay. Oh, wow. Even more than last time. Sweet. How many of you are using multi-attach? Oh, hey, one brave soul. Excellent. Anything you would like to say to start with?
Well, I'm not sure that, is it, you mean like connecting a machine with like a host with two initiators? Like, maybe
multi-path.
No,
That's multi-path.
That's multi-path.
Okay.
We're talking attaching one volume to multiple instances.
Okay, no.
No? Okay. All right. How many of you want multi-attach? Okay, about the same.
Wow.
But we're also
Are you saying
Why?
yes because we're asking,
why.
or yes
Yeah.
because you need
It's
it?
Kubernetes.
What?
It's shared volumes for Kubernetes.
To do
Okay.
read only though?
Today.
Interesting.
Okay.
That's awesome. I mean, so that's cool.
And John is
So
exciting.
Whoa! Do that work in vain. Whoa!
Ildiko and John, your work has been validated.
Even
So shared volumes with Kubernetes. So you want PVs that can be shared between multiple hosts running Kubernetes, or
That's the assumptions in
And
the
you
use
to
case.
attach the same volume to two different
Yeah.
pods running on
And
two
they
different,
have
two
to-
different containers running on two different OpenStack VMs.
Yeah.
okay.
so this has been a problem with containers. Well, containers, it's all basically designed around shared file system.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
So all the semantics and everything kind of behave that way, especially things like failing.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know I'm an infrastructure guy, so I don't know how they intend to solve the shared file system problem, but
Yeah, that's
but they want it, you
minor
know.
detail.
Yeah, minor detail, exactly.
That's
Okay.
an implementation detail left to the operator.
Just like FAT 12 or something, it'll be fine.
Yeah. In TFS.
Okay. So are you guys here to find out what we currently have to start with, and then we can further discuss where we go from there?
Mhm.
Okay. Ildiko and John, would you like to do that? Or I can do it and you can try to correct me?
Matt is here too, so he will sure to correct you.
So right now, currently what we have is we have 4 drivers that have it available in current release. The way it works right now is you can create a volume type multi-attach, and then create volumes and attach them to multiple instances. Now there's some other things, some requirements and stuff like that if you're interested in the box, but it is well documented.
Yeah, this support is well documented out there.
So that's where it's at right now. There are some problems, like the shared file system. One of the things also that's going to be a problem for this particular case is right now there's not a read-only versus read-write option. So that's something that was in progress and ran into some problems. So that is something that we will have the next release. So that's where it's at today, in a nutshell.
Do you mind listing the 4 drivers?
What's that?
The 4 drivers?
The 4 drivers are Infinidat, the LVM driver, the ZFS driver, of course, and the Dell EMC Scale IO driver, and the SolidFire driver. The only ones that matter.
You only do read only or read write?
Read write.
You can only do read write, right?
Yeah, correct.
Although
You must write. You must write.
there is a bug that you can set a volume to read only, but only if you're an admin.
True.
Or something like that.
Yeah, you could use, so there's an old method of doing read-only volumes that you could actually do some incantations on and make work.
Right. So Nova's I've got to spec up for the Rocky release so that the user can specify the attach mode when they actually make the attachment.
So if there's not read-only and read-write distinction now, what is it? Is it read?
It's always read-write.
Yeah. Is this going to integrate with the Nova API?
That's the proposal. Yeah.
That was easy.
There's some libvirt restrictions in QEMU. The only driver in Nova that supports this right now is libvirt. I haven't heard of any of the other Nova drivers that are talking about adding this support in Rocky. You have to have libvirt greater than or equal to 3.10. I think that's
So
basically
I
it.
started working on this with Power BI because I don't know what it's
Can you guys is the entry driver even supporting attaching volumes yet?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Power VM driver.
Power BI driver. We've got the matchup for that. Yeah, that was one of the specs that was approved. Remember we were.
But we're waiting on
the
CI. Yeah.
So the CI actually should be up today.
Today?
Today.
What time?
It'll never fail, right?
We meant only today.
It's a special.
While at the summit, CI will work for only $300,000. Okay. So that was easy. We have support. We're fixing it. People want it. Any concerns with what we currently have working? Obviously, other than the fact that you've got read-write and that's it. Yes.
When is self-support coming?
That's a good question. Did they not? Oh no, that was not for multi-attach.
I can't remember if John is working on that or not.
Yeah.
John Bernard. He may be working on that.
He is.
They should fix some other feature. I don't remember. Maybe it's replication. That hard teams said that they will implement multi-attach too. So some internal self-drive implementation issues.
Oh. You're playing. You take notes.
I can't.
I didn't see you type.
So what's the answer? Nobody's working on it? It's waiting?
So the hard is working on it, but I don't know any estimates when it will be fixed.
John Bernard is working on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's
Should
accurate.
be made.
I think there was a clash with the replication blocking, so that something you could follow up on, but I don't think he's active.
Okay. And I know he's been focused on the replication part. Right. So, okay. If you need it, I suggest you talk to Red Hat.
Any summit specials.
It may cost you a lot of money. Just kidding. How about those keynotes? All right. Other questions? Too soon? It's what happens when you put me in front of a room and it gets awkwardly quiet. I start going into comedian mode. It's not good. So, ask more questions.
Isn't it the case that the SAF community would kind of move towards SFFS and rather than direct attached SAF volumes? So it's not actually
For like the OpenShift Kubernetes use case, that is the primary direction. I think that's fair to say.
I think that's why SAF is not going to get there maybe. Direct multi-attach.
Okay. Is to use the vanilla SFFS backend instead. Okay.
Deal with the process. Exactly.
And are you guys all doing Kubernetes on OpenStack, or are you just doing standalone Cinder?
Oh, that's a good question.
In my case, opens on OpenStack.
Okay.
What's the power use case?
So we've got a bunch of custom code to do with some of our DC that we would like to transition.
Right. What are users using it for? What are they want?
Probably AX or IBM.
I mean, I'm for sure.
I was gonna say, you guys have been multi-attaching for a long time.
Many years. So we had to roll our own thing.
Yeah.
I think some of that we tried to get up in the community and didn't work. We're very happy
And then-
that this is progressed.
Then you had some grumpy guy telling you not to fork the code and getting mad at you. I don't remember who that was, but
The primary use case we get asked for is the block database case, like more like the raw disk case. It's not a file system use case. It's a I want to layer something on top that wants raw block.
that was what I was expecting people to say. So I think that's why we kind of were surprised by the Kubernetes answer. You know, highly available database or those sorts of solutions.
So I can agree with databases.
Okay.
On the PTL of Octavia, we've had 2 people come and request this feature for the base OS of our service VMs. So all the load balancing service VMs would have a base read-only multi-attach.
Yeah, which
It's
we
also-
do support the boot with multi-attach, or we don't yet.
You do, but you have to do it in separate requests. We don't currently support the ability to create 10 VMs in a
Okay.
single request, all attached to the same volume. Which that's the second part of the Nova spec, is adding that. But yeah, you can do separate requests to boot from the same volume.
We just had the request, here to learn more about it. We're not starting to build.
You can
You,
pass in
you
the
provide
volume
an existing volume. Yeah. Yeah, Nova won't create a multi-attach volume. So if you want to do anything with multi-attach volumes in Nova, you have to provide them on sort of create or attach.
Are people looking for read-write or a read-write with a read-only, with multiple read-only attachments?
The database, that would be read-write.
All read-write.
There's a couple other use cases too. So big data processing is actually.
Okay.
But again, it's really.
Okay. So again, it depends on the use case.
Replacing plates on each channel.
Okay. Other thoughts, questions? Yeah.
When you say multi-attach, so do you think about 2, 3, any number of hosts?
There's no quota on it.
Yeah, there's no limit.
There's,
Billions and billions.
except for it's what, 26, wasn't it?
Well, block devices is not live right now.
Yeah.
But that's not probably what you're concerned about, like 500 instances all attached to the same volume, right?
No, I don't know, like, should it be like more than 2? Is it okay to be?
No, it's one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Multiple instances attached to the same volume is what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you attach
Can,
more
more
than
than
two.
can I do more
Threes
than
and
2
five,
or
10.
3?
Yes.
Yes.
There's no
You
limit.
can until you hit the limit on the host for the, depending on what topology you're using. There's 2 things. One is the live limit we just mentioned, and then the other thing is the load count. But if you're going across multiple compute nodes, a lot of those problems go away. And
It's just the back end would be the limitation. If that
Yeah, I was
makes
gonna say, at some point you might hit a back-end limitation too.
it depends on the back end.
Right.
And in terms of protocols like FC and iSCSI or just FC?
If, for example,
It's,
SCSI for sure. Is there any reason to fiber channel wouldn't work?
Well,
That's what we're doing. That's what
Oh.
it's gotta work.
Yeah, from our point of view, it's also the stuff is both will work.
Intended to work is just where heads
Because
go.
it's just a matter of whether we allow them to create another
Now,
attachment
if there's
on the
a
background.
shared
And
target.
back end, it's all
Yep.
and if you're
handled
using
by
that,
Osprey,
that's not
right?
wrong.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's a third case.
So, yeah.
This is why it got really.
Yeah. Can you scroll to the top so I can see the link? Where is it? Okay.
People happy with how we implemented it?
They don't even
They
know
don't.
about it.
We have no idea how you implemented it. So.
Well, we just
Sure, good job.
Yeah. Here, I'll pat.
Self support shows up, I'll tell you.
I'll pat Ildiko and John on the back and say, "Good job."
So,
So what's the Ceph use case? Is it back to the Kubernetes conversation?
Anything else? Big data, just as my back end. I'm not running anything new to do either that or vanilla, so I can go the vanilla route too. Just trying to, whatever the better options are.
For my conception, for big data, read only.
That's a
The lock could be far more efficient than using.
For me, with Ceph, it's databases.
the problem with the databases though is, so everybody throws that out as a use case. The question I always ask afterwards is what file system are you going to use?
Probably like Oracle Plan.
Rack.
Yeah, actually.
That's the only one I know of that's been.
And then, what do you do about it?
Like ZFS or fancy. Database.
I don't think ZFS supports it. Somebody's just said ZFS.
ZFS does not.
DFS is not. You need something like GFS or.
Yes, GFS.
The XFS group has been talking about doing multi-attach whatever. Yeah, it's been in their discussions, but it's been there for a couple of years. So.
I'm sure Btrfs too.
Yeah, they'll do anything.
Probably the implementation plus the, and then changes in the actual drawing. Just the file.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. The only change that's actually required for the most part, unless there's some odd details, is to enable it in the capabilities of the target.
Right.
It's a one-line change.
Yeah.
So
that's what it is.
if anybody has a self-deployment in a test environment and they want to try it, you can certainly set capabilities multi-attach to true and try it. And see what happens.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. We could do that. We could put it in the gate and run the multi-attach test.
Now, the multi-attach tests in the gate don't actually SSH into the guest. I don't believe try to write from one and read from the other or anything like that. I mean, we could add that, but
I think they might have some test proposed that does some SSH stuff or does something like this kind of stuff. And I know that there was some other stuff. Like in Arizona, we wanted to do SSH.
yeah.
We have framework to do that.
Can you speak up a bit?
We were so the question was, like, what does it take to enable multi-attach support in the Cinder driver? And it's basically a one-line code change to the driver that just enables the capability for the volume type. And we were saying, because we have a Ceph CI job, we could flip this bit. There's Tempest tests for multi-attach, so we could just run it against the Ceph job and see if it explodes. But those, the test, I think there might be a patch, but the tests that we're running today currently don't SSH into the guest, write to the volume from one guest and read it from the other volume, or from the other guest. But like I said, I think there might be a patch that does that, it's just not merged. But
In doing that, we just have DD or something done.
yeah, you just cat. I mean, we could basically do what I did in my demo, which is just you cat from one, or you write from one and you cat from the other. And
But not try to mount it at all. Just because otherwise you're going to get into needing to have some sort of. Well, I mean, you could mount it, write it, unmount it.
That's what my
That's what you know,
that's what I
okay,
had to
yeah.
do with my demo. Yeah.
It's not multi-attached though if you write it mounted, unmounted.
Sure, it's still attached to both.
Yeah, it's just
It's
a
not mounted in both.
right. It's a
Oh,
So if you're doing like
Okay.
active,
Okay.
passive, that's what you have to do. You have to manage that yourself anyway if
Okay.
you're not using a cluster or a file system.
okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So it's just a ext4 file system.
Oh, okay.
So from a sin point of view, were we too like decided to plan sessions and so if we did want to introduce this and test it,
I'm doing it right now.
sorry. We're doing a spec, essentially.
Yeah. You guys run the Ceph job on your changes, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
this is gonna push it up, and then we can. figure
And then
out-
we can figure out all the bugs.
I'm just gonna put it up as it is a bit, so.
You know that you still have to do this from Dublin that you haven't done yet, though, Lee.
What do you want to look for?
Oh,
Nice try.
Did you talk about upgrades at all?
No.
For that, so
No,
if
not
you
yet.
don't, so one of the other things was there's some policy rules in Cinder so that if you don't have any of the supported Cinder drivers, or you're not using libvirt, so if you're just like an all Hyper-V or all VMware cloud or something, you can disable the feature on the Cinder side, so your users can't attempt. They'll just get a 403 if they try to create multi-touch volumes. So just if you have a mixed compute deployment, then it gets a little weirder. You'd have to probably use aggregates or something. The other thing is that Nova, the compute API, will not allow users to use multi-attach volumes until Cinder's upgraded, and if you're attaching to an existing instance, the compute host that the instance is running on understands about and supports multi-attach. So from an operator's perspective, this should all be plumbing inside Nova that understands, like, yep, I'm ready to go, I can do this, or no, and the user will get an error. So
And this is all Queens.
yep.
Yeah.
And on Ceph, actually, it looks like you're on. I was just reading, Eric has a comment in there. It specifically says, do not enable multi-attach for this journal. So apparently there's a exclusive lock that they added to make replication work that will not allow multi-attach to work. So until somebody has time to actually go through and figure out how to address it.
What if it's an EC pool?
Huh?
What if it's an erasure coding pool?
Ask Eric.
Yeah.
Oh, were you? Okay. So, if you want multi-attach and you don't want replication, then that's fine.
We were looking at, they've been looking at making it a configuration option.
Yeah, that leads to trouble. Although we could programmatically enforce that. So
My database is so important that I need multiple worker nodes on it, then I gotta replicate it too.
that's exactly
So,
right.
you know.
But if you're replicating it, why do you need multiple worker nodes?
Really running Oracle rack on top of OpenStack, is that the thing?
It is a thing.
It is a thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You would be surprised how many people I know that are doing that.
I think it should have that whole workload somewhere around.
Yeah. Okay, so we covered upgrade. We answered the Ceph question. Anything else?
There was a talk yesterday about the development process of this. The video isn't available yet, but if anybody's more development minded and wants to get a background on that, it's going to be posted eventually.
Does it feature actual video clips from our meetings where the crying and gnashing of teeth? The effort that started 3 years ago.
In a world.
In a world with no multi-attach. There was a man and a woman with a vision. Their volumes. OpenStack Cross-Project Collaboration presents. I missed my calling. Should have been a voiceover guy. Ah.
Is there anything else that you want to go through, or anything that we
Um,
remember was the times we're not in all here?
Yeah.
I would like reviews from the spec scores. I know.
Yeah.
On.
On my spec.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gotten some review. The only thing was, so in Nova you can have both volume block devices and local block devices, where a local block device is ephemeral block on the compute host or swap, and those get deleted like if the instance is moved or just the instance is gone. They're just totally ephemeral. Normal block device mappings in Nova are persistent volumes in Cinder. So when we're adding this ability to specify an attach mode for the user, there was some question of should we not, like if I'm requesting a local swap disk attached to my server and I specify read only, like that's not a thing that we're doing. So do we just fail the request? And the discussion in the spec was yes, this isn't a thing that is supported, so rather than just ignore it and act like the user didn't ask for it, we'll fail. So that, it's really just like a lot of sort of user experience kind of stuff in the spec right now. I think that's all that needs to be hammered out is what the defaults are. If you don't specify anything, we continue to do read-write as before because that's what we do today.
You can retype an existing volume to a multi-attach type, right?
As long as it's not attached.
Right.
So you can't retype a volume in or out of multi-attach capability as long as it's in use. Because that gets all sorts of weird when we try to do the rebase on the Nova side. You can't attach a multi-attach volume to a shelved offloaded server because...
Can't do.
Right, because a shelved offloaded server is not actually on a compute host, so it gets kind of dumb. We could support it, but just like we don't even know if people use shelved. So
You can't attach a regular volume to it, right?
you can attach a regular volume. Right, you can attach a volume to a shelved offloaded server. You can attach it
Really?
in the database,
Oh, I didn't think that was.
and then when you
unshelve
it, then we
Oh.
attach the volume as a host.
So why can't you do the multi-attach then?
We could.
I'm asking.
You can attach.
Oh, sorry.
What was the other thing? So like Artem's.
Whether the compute supports it or not, and then
Oh, yeah.
Right. This is stuff that we could do. It's just that when you unshelve, you go through a reschedule. You're scheduling again.
Once we know everything's new enough, though, then we don't have to worry about issue stuff.
Well,
if
not
you
all
had-
not all vert
if
drivers
you,
support.
for some
Oh.
reason, would end up in like mixed environments with hypervisor, you could still, in theory,
So when we added the support for tagged attach, Artem didn't support it for shelved offloaded servers, and we just said like, let's just that seems easy.
You mean because we don't know if the compute that it's going to land on supports the tags?
Right. So it was just yeah.
You could just fail to offload or fail to unshelve.
You would fail it, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know.
Sure. Other stuff in I don't even know if it'll happen in Rocky, probably in Stein. But with placement, we're doing so. Like today, if you do a boot from volume with a multi-attach volume, like the scheduler isn't filtering anything to make sure that you land on a host that supports multi-attach. So you could end up landing on a Pike compute host. It'll fail, or actually, it won't fail. It won't make it a shareable disk.
But you can actually aggregates for that, right?
You could do aggregates, right? But
that would be the operator rolling their own solution.
right, there's no native solution for that.
Okay.
So in Stein, what we can the thing that we've talked about for several different things is the compute drivers have this capabilities dictionary, and what we're going to do is model those as traits in placement. So then when you go through scheduling, Nova will say, oh, I see that I'm doing multi-attach boot from volume
Probably need some sort of pre-filter mechanism.
That's exactly what it would be. It would say, I know that the user is asking for this specific thing, so we would filter down the results in placement based on what the user is requesting. We could do that for multi-attach. We can do it for tagged attach or tagged block devices. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that like operators have had to use aggregates in the past, and now we can like just integrate it all with placement, and it'll be native. But that's probably Stein at this point.
Well, and you're going to get exposing the capabilities as traits done in Rocky, so that Stein will have units that aren't exposing anything, right?
If we get it done. I've had a work in progress patch sitting there for 2 months, but
Yeah, I think it would be good to do that. That way, the Stein stuff doesn't have to worry about, peeps that
don't have it.
Yeah.
Because we were going to do this for the memory back.
Yep.
Or file back memory or something.
More drivers. All depends on the drivers implementing them. That's up to the vendors. If your vendor doesn't support it, ask for it. Not all vendors will be able to support it, though. Again, depends on your back end.
So I have a question. Sorry, I might be ignorant. So currently you can't market read-only at the cinder level. But if I arrange to have only one writer and 10 readers, and they mounted read-only readers at the Unix level, is that? That's the way they will do it.
Your file system still may not handle that. You may have to unmount, remount, and stuff. I mean, you won't corrupt your file system, but your readers may not see the latest.
Yeah.
They may get very confused.
No. Unless you have a file system that is aware of this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's going to cache inodes and stuff and not look at the disk because it knows it's the only one.
Okay.
This is why Trove would have a submission to do an attachment. That's the only way you
Okay.
So you have to kind of pre-bake a read-only volume with a writer, and then go mount it irrevocably, and it's a snapshot.
If you're using a file system.
Sort of like a snapshot,
Yeah, right. You need to do that. You do a cluster-aware file system like GFS or ASM if you think of its file system, or just a database that just does its own thing in terms of block layout and such.
Yeah, and there might be some file systems that you can mount with so that everything is basically O-direct, so that you kind of defeat some of that. But unless you're using something that's intending to work in a shared block thing, it's going to be kind of touch and go.
Buyer beware. Yeah, we didn't. Usually we start this discussion with, if you use the wrong file system, you will corrupt your data and it will not be our fault. So we did not magically solve multi-attach for everybody. So anything else people want to discuss in the last 4 minutes, multi-attach or otherwise? Is everybody hungry?
Tested, the Tempest is, it's going to be a Tempest test.
It's been in since Queens, yeah. There's several Tempest tests, like resize, doing multiple attachments.
Scenario test you think it's gonna link?
Also,
Scenario test you mentioned about
the
that.
SSH one?
Yeah.
Assuming Tempest cores review it, yeah.
so the Tempest will do the mounting, dismounting, all those stuff, or you need to...
I think there is a patch to actually SSH into the guest, mount the file system, write to it, then SSH into the other guest, mount the file system, read from it. That's not what we're gating on today, because the patch isn't merged.
You can get away with not doing that. Just write right there. It's a bit faster.
Maybe you should make a comment on the patch. I can find the patch and put it in Etherpad. And then everybody can just +1 it and it won't be obvious what happened.
Okay.
There's a check connectivity test that says that it checks whether users can still read and multi-attachable after it is detached from for instance. That does a +2 on it.
Yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking of.
Cool.
Yeah, it was +2 in the middle of March, so we need to check whether it's still working and get another Tempest to raise an opinion on it.
Nice. Thanks for putting the demo and talking.
Sure.
I don't know
Yep.
if this may have already been asked and answered, but I'm old. Is there any reason this wouldn't work with bare metal instances if you were using iSCSI or fiber channel?
No, it actually works.
Good question.
The interesting thing with bare metal is it's
There it starts to make sense for your rack database, so, all right.
and you don't have all the other things to
Yeah, it probably works the best that way, actually.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah.
That is actually true. Sorry.
I was talking to you.
Oh, okay.
You may speak.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. May I speak again?
No. All right. Thank you for your time. Come by the project update later if you guys are able to. Learn what else we've done, and have a good summit.
Yeah. I'm just actually replying to say I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah, it's like 5 different things happening at the same time.
Vancouver,
Yeah, they have something now.
Let me
Okay, that's fine.
Did you get it? Yeah.
Because of the key.
They're not secret.
She had pointed me to the